got Justin Moskowitz and John Pollard with ETH Denver. So appreciate you guys jumping on. You guys got a little bit of an event coming up next week that you've been preparing for. So this is really exciting. Just a little bit, right? So, well, hey, first I want to just give you guys a minute or two to kind of give background on yourselves, give some context for everybody listening, and then we'll dive into the event next week and go through some details. So we'll start with you, Justin.
Yeah, sure. So my history, I don't know if there's some background there. So yeah, my history in the gaming space actually has been a lot of my professional career. Spent some time working for DreamHack just prior to this. Ran a LAN gaming center for a number of years, hosted a number of events, and prior to that, I just worked marketing in the travel industry. So connected with John here one day, and he had the crazy idea to host this hackathon, and I was looking for someone who's a big enough glutton for punishment to join him on that endeavor. And then we dove in and kind of made this thing happen, and the rest is history, I guess.
Sorry, what year was that?
2017.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was like what, November of 2017, maybe October.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We put that thing together pretty quick.
Oh my God, thinking about that, like doing what we did the first time, like
first go arounds are always fun. They're always the best.
I had no idea that, Justin's like, well, probably take more like 6 months to plan this. I'm like, we could do it in 3 months for a couple hundred people. And before you knew it, it was 1,500 people the first year.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
It was insane. And we're just like, what happened? Like, I had no idea. But,
yeah. Oh, and of course, in 2017 too. So that, the hype year, of course.
Oh yeah. No, it was all-time high for Ethereum the first time, hit in early January of 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we know. I mean, it was crazy. Anyway.
Yeah, John, a little bit about yourself. Tell a little bit about yourself as well.
Yeah, so I took the red pill and went down the rabbit hole for blockchain technology and sort of the future of digital currencies in probably 2015. I was a part of the meetup circuit here in Denver for about a year or so before like the spring hit, and it was like crazy busy in 2017, where it was like 400 people at an Ethereum meetup. And the idea was to really harness some of the raw talent of that. So we just decided to like build something that people could come and participate, express themselves creatively, earn prizes. Hackathons are a good event, a good venue for this. And so we just like Justin said, we just sort of jumped in and just went, hey, let's do this. And it just kind of went crazy. So
really cool. So you had an event each year. I guess talk a little bit more about ETH Denver, some of the details over the years and how things that have changed since 2017, and then obviously transitioning this year into a virtual event, because we're actually going to pull up a virtual environment that you guys have built on Gamer Jobs. So it's really cool stuff. So I guess kind of give us the ethos, around the event, and then kind of what's happened the last couple of years.
Yeah, so I'll jump in on that one. So the ethos of the event is, if you've been in the blockchain space for a while, you'll realize that it's not really just about the tech. The technology is a tool to enact some really important social changes. And as part of that, the ethos of ETH Denver is a belief that every person who wants to come and contribute to our community has a unique creativity, a unique sort of intrinsic creativity that's being it's ready to express itself. So our goal is to build a big tent and a blank canvas so that individuals from wherever they want to come from, with whatever background they have, can come and just be them. They do them. They express themselves creatively however they want. We don't control things. We don't require things. It's really in a lot of respects a pure meritocracy of creative expression, where the community rewards individuals for cool hacks and projects and big achievements, and it's just really a beautiful sort of example of egalitarian sort of community, management. Not that we even have to manage it. It's just sort of this emergent order type of thing that people like being a part of it, because it doesn't really have, I mean, I guess the dogma is it doesn't have a dogma. I guess that by itself is kind of a dogma. It's like saying, if you don't have, I don't know, we just try to make it as blank canvas as possible. And, that ethos is stuck pretty well. I mean, we also don't just limit to like the idea of a conference. Conferences are often a lot of talky, and then hackathons are all walkie. So what we do is we mix both. We mix, sort of a conference format with, talks and technical workshops and all sorts of, thought leadership things. And then we have the main stage event, which is we call it a biddle-a-thon. It's, in other circles it would be called a hackathon, but biddle is sort of the meme of the Ethereum space of what it means to sort of be advancing this technology. And then the third part is experiences, and what we're kind of demoing right here on the screen is, what's really important to us is that people have a good time. We can get down to business and we can build stuff, but if you're not enjoying yourself, if you're not, really engaging with the community, what fun is that? And then part of our goal is to really, give people a flavor of the future. Like, what's it going to be like in the future? And this year's event, going virtual, is really a good example of like how you can create, even digital experiences that are still connection driven, that are still about building community. So, and that are a lot of fun. So everything that we do is sort of about those three things. And then really just having a whole overtone of learning and education, whether you're brand new to the space or you're sort of been around and you're sophisticated in sort of your knowledge base.
So then talk a little bit about, I guess obviously COVID hits and running a physical event, the physical events went to zero, right? So I guess talk about like that process of, preparing for an event like this and then going virtual. Because I feel like, obviously going virtual is there's different context with it. Like there's so many different ways to do that. Can you guys talk about like that process? Like how it started and like the, kind of like the progression?
I'll say that like you have to start the planning pretty far in advance for a physical event. So we were pretty far out looking at it, kind of deciding like, what are we going to do? Is this thing going to just pass? Is this?
Well, we almost didn't do it. We almost made the decision to just sort of table it because we didn't really want to do like Zoom rooms and just, everybody gets Zoom fatigue. Like none of us were very excited about that.
Yeah, exactly. So, we've seen a ton of events this year that were just kind of like, okay, cool. So a bunch of famous people talking on like interesting topics for sure. I mean, that's nice, but you don't have a lot of those serendipitous moments of like, oh, I ran into this guy in the hall, like we grabbed a beer or coffee or whatever. And, I walked into the maker space or the Zen zone and someone was just like really nice to me. And we built something cool together in the hackathon. It's like these types of things that, human interaction makes a lot easier. And so, we came across Gamer Jive due to, Pete, good buddy over the past few years. And, just we're like, wow, this thing is actually really cool. And this could achieve a lot of the things that we're trying to achieve at ETH Denver. We've spent some time putting a lot of little pieces of that ETH Denver live experience into the event itself. Like you see, I'm holding this giant can here. It's kind of hard to tell what it is, but it's Guayaki Yerba Mate, which they've been a sponsor of our live event, providing pallets of Guayaki to keep everyone caffeinated the last few years. So we just try to integrate as many fun little things into the event as possible like that. We have we're actually gamifying the experience with a scavenger hunt and a bunch of fun little mini games for people to do as well. Of course, we'll still have talks and all those other kind of things that people have at these events. And then we're also integrating some fun events each evening to give people just even if they're hacking in the event, take 2 hours to just take a break and do something fun and meet other people and give them excuses to do so.
Yeah, we talk about this a lot. I've been to a number of been part of like producing, especially like with the live streaming component of Gamer Job events. And there's like this kind of this delineation between, being in a presentation, like being presented to on Zoom, like a linear presentation versus experiencing an event. So when you have like a 3D space, it's more of an experience versus, kind of a rote standard presentation that you're being presented to. So that's because I've been, obviously we've all done a number of virtual events, whether it is a presentation or in a virtual environment, and they're really two totally different situations because it's just a different experience.
Oh, I 100% agree. I mean, the experiential component, in my opinion, is the major differentiator for what we do versus what a lot of other events do. There's a lot of really good qualities about other events, even in our ecosystem, that, we're not trying to compete with anything. What we're doing is saying, like, look, we almost want people to sample the future. We want them to experience, like, what's the, this whole blockchain thing, like, what's it about, And it's really about creating a more fluid, dynamic, self-sovereign, creative world, right? Something that from all the economics and game design down to, cell phone data to, self-sovereign identities and everything in between, even up to DeFi. Like, the future is going to be much more decentralized and non-hierarchical than what we're used to historically. And so our events, we try to like really kind of give people a glimpse into that, not just, talk about it and sort of like, maybe even just hack on it. We try to get people to experience the whole thing. So it's the experience component. I 100% agree. The thing about Gamer Jive that makes it a big differentiator is, number one, the customizations that we've done in the space. I mean, a lot of this does look, feel, and replicate a lot of the typical ETH Denver vibe, right? And then number two, as Justin said, the serendipity of like just running around with your Buffet Cornell or your Goyaki, you can literally run into people that you haven't seen in a year. It's like, oh my gosh, like, what's up, man? And you can literally just jump into a chat. It's all fluid. You can, invite your other friends, and it's just it's a much more fluid experience.
Yeah, to kind of add on to this, the development of, audio chat technology platforms like Clubhouse have obviously exploded, right? But you get that intimacy of, number one, you're getting to hear someone's voice, right? Instead of maybe just text form. Like in maybe a Twitch chat, it's just, a text flying up and down, right? Like that's the way you participate. But like on Clubhouse, you have the audio component to it. Well, then Gamer Job has the audio component. So like you could have 40 people, in the same room talking, right? So you kind of have that intimate relationship there for that experience, for that particular room that you're in, like in the welcome room that you're in right now. And then on top of that you've got video component too, if you choose to participate there. So you kind of have all those layers, plus you have the environment with all the different assets that your character can customize with and things like that. So yeah, I actually kind of go through some of the custom in-game items that have been built, because I think that those are really interesting, like the Spork Marmot and some of the customized things that are there.
Yeah, so 2021 is the year of the Spork Marmot. So of course we had to do some fun things for the Spork Marmot. So here he is in a UFO. And you can pick up some cool swag and throw it on.
Face mask and hats, and yeah.
Right, you can even hold a spork if you're into that. And then, like I mentioned, there's some other drinks, and there's actually even more custom stuff that's going to be released as we get closer to the event, and just fun stuff, like look a little bit different as you're running around here. And like you mentioned, I mean, this is like the VR clubhouse, like you just pop into any one of these spaces and you're talking with the person, and then it's not just like, oh, I can just hear you. I can also just be like, running around, and you can see a little bit of my unique personality that I decided to throw a few of these funny clothes on, or, I'm holding the spork,
Mm-hmm. You mentioned sponsors. We're looking at some of the sponsor booths in the space. Like, kind of walk us through like that conversation, those first conversations you had maybe with the sponsors, talking about virtual environment. Like, how did that go initially? Like, was the buy-in like immediately, or was it kind of more of a showing them the experience and what it would be like?
Yeah. So what we tried to do with the sponsor booths is really just make them as they would be in real life. Engagement again is part of the experience, and the people that sponsor ETH Denver, what they're really after is they're looking to activate the community. They want to engage with developers. They want to like engage with people interested in what they're doing. A lot of the projects that are being built are very ethos driven, so they're looking to connect with people who share in that ethos. And it's great because everything again is fluid. It replicates, almost a lot of the exact same kind of look, feel, and vibe as you just wandering around a conference space. So it's pretty cool. And then the fact that we've gamified the ecosystem with incentives. So Justin mentioned earlier that we've got a scavenger hunt. Every one of our sponsors will have a unique NFT available to give to their to people that attendees can earn, I should better say, that for doing certain things. Actually, this is one of my favorite parts. I actually think the beanbag pits are the best example of like a little clubhouse, because you can have like 5 people in the chat zone and just hang out and chat, and then people can walk in and listen and whatever. We're going to actually be activating some of these spaces for like flash AMAs and things like that. So like VIPs from the space will show up in a beanbag pit, and then you can come and ask them questions and just chat with them. It'll be really fun. But yeah, so hopefully that gives everybody a good perspective on what's to expect. There's just a lot to explore. It's not actually like, we're only running the space, call it 2 to 3 hours a day. And it's going to be just bonkers in here when it comes to being busy, because we are expecting over 3,000 people from all over the globe to want to come and participate. The cool part is like, it's going to be the energy, the engagement, the experience, and the excitement is going to be like way more than anybody's done in the last year virtually, in my opinion, at least from what I've seen. Not that there aren't possibly other things that I haven't seen, but that's my general opinion on that.
Yeah, and then on top of this, we also have a 24-hour DJ live stream going on from 5 to 7 each evening. We're doing some pretty crazy, fun events. Like, we have a poker tournament that's going to be done using blockchain technology through Virtue Poker. We're doing a chess tournament. We even have the governor of Colorado playing a League of Legends match casted by Monte Cristo and Doa, who've casted the League of Legends World Championships, and a lot of other things. But we're just doing kind of these fun little side events where people can hang out and chat and have a good time, and over like having those excuses that you don't have when you're on just watching a Zoom webinar to really connect with people.
Yeah, so like on the poker and chess tournament, those are like free rolls, and then there's prizes and things like that. Very cool.
Yeah, in fact, that poker tournament's 10 ETH prize pool, free to play, limited to 300 players. So get in there, Chris.
Oh, it's capped at 300.
Oh yeah,
capped at 300 players.
Wow.
But it's free to play. It's free to play, and it's over $10,000 in prize money. When you talk about USD, it's 10 ETH.
Right.
So
on Virtue, correct?
Virtue Poker.
Yeah, very, very familiar. Yeah, very, very, really, that's awesome. That's really, so you have like the side events all culminating, and then like each day. So I guess we'll go back a little bit too. So it's a 7-day event. Is that correct? And then like the
8 days. So like 9 to 5 each day, you've got content that's like mainstream type standard content. Of course, we have our we have a separate platform, Vertly, where it's essentially like Zoom rooms that every team can have their own room and share their view, mentors.
In one platform, though, so it's not like separated. It's all in one platform.
Yeah, so you can see all the different rooms. Each of the sponsors has their own, Vertly room that any of the hackers that need help with a project can just pop in there and talk with them. We'll even be doing judging in the same way. So you have like basically a pod that the judges will go into and take a look at everyone in that room, on that floor. So at the Sports Castle, we have 6 different floors, and so we're trying to replicate kind of some of that same feel with just like the way that we name things and give people like the feel for being at the physical event too.
And so then the virtual environment on Gamer Job is almost like a social hour on top of like everything else, is like another activity in a way.
Totally. Yep.
Gotcha. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's the social hour meets the sponsor boost, community activation, dog food of technology, like just engaging and experiencing sort of a futuristic, event.
Yeah, and then one other, I'm gonna get y'all's take on just NFTs in general. Obviously, like 2020 was like the year of the NFT, and just it was like really fascinating. Just I've watched it from afar. I mean, I try to keep up with it, but definitely not most up to date person out there on NFTs. But I love following just like different projects and what's going on there. And what's interesting too with the Gamer Job team, the in-game assets, and they're looking at NFTs and like being able to customize your avatar and to have those NFTs from event to event and things like that. Like, right. If a sponsor has 50 t-shirts, 50 digital t-shirts, and it's only 50 of them, you can carry that, you can have that piece at the next event and things like that. I'm here and I'm very familiar with Decentraland, CryptoVoxels, and other platforms there too. So like, I've seen that. I guess you all looked at those platforms to use as well? Or like what
we did. I mean, the dirty secret of why we chose Gamer Job actually has more to do with, what we owe our sponsors as far as activity goes, and just like being able to kind of track things. Gotcha. We have talked to Gamer Job about like the next iteration of this with having, NFTs, being able to be built in, equipable assets, collectible assets. I mean, that is what we are doing. I mean, we are activating this space with about 50 collectible NFTs. So between sponsor booze and, chilling in beanbag pits and dancing on the dance floor and, going fishing and all these different things, like we want people to experience it, but then also come away with something, like have those memories. And I think the NFTs are sort of something that helps canonize a person's experience. It's something that they remember, and it's especially if there's scarcity involved, where not that many people can have these. I mean, it's a pretty powerful thing to keep people engaged and kind of thinking about what's next, right? Like, what can I get next? So, yeah, we think it's a really important part of the future. We think that NFTs and just the whole sort of metaverse, sort of elements of life, especially with COVID being what it is. I mean, I don't think this is going away. I think, even if we get back to normal, there'll still be a component of this virtual world that continues to grow and grow.
Yeah, the other thing I would mention, so with the art gallery, we actually, all of the art is NFT based. And in fact, there are actually some pretty high profile artists. One of them who had one of their first NFT pieces of art turned into an NFT at ETH Denver last year. So Annie, who runs our art gallery, together with Jessica, who makes the makerspace, who runs the makerspace, they've been connecting tons of artists around the world with how to turn their art into NFTs. And what's interesting is, for a long time, there's been this thing where if it's not physical art, it hasn't really been respected in the same way as digital art. And so what's cool to see is with NFT art, it's actually changing that dynamic. And you're seeing all these digital artists who like previously couldn't really, have their art treated very seriously or seen very seriously.
We're even seeing it go into the music scene where people are selling, portions of their catalogs as NFTs. We had a guy who built the Ballad of the Buffacorn for us, Jonathan Mann. He's actually known as the Song a Day guy, and he's got the Guinness Book of World Records for the most unique songs created consecutively per day. And, you know, he NFT'd the song that he did for us, you know, like, you've got all sorts of cool things happening where, I mean, if you think about the future of that, I mean, you could essentially monetize your catalog and your music through a community without record labels. I mean, you could really decentralize a lot of the sort of distribution mechanisms that we're used to. And we can have a much more democratic and sort of fair to market way to do it. You don't have to depend on some record executive to like you. You know, you can let the community decide what's of value.
Yeah, power to the creator.
That's 100%. You know, like cater directly to the market. You know, let the market decide what's good. You know, don't let the record execs decide what's good. I mean, that's terrible. You know, I mean, there's a lot of junk out there that record execs push on the market, but you know, this is really a much more, you know, when you talk about the creator economy, which is one of our mini summits that we're running as part of our content tracks, it's a really important component to empowering that unique creativity that we talk about and giving people the blank canvas and the big tent to come and express that. So, yeah, we're very big fans of it. And as Justin mentioned, you know, Jess, who runs our makerspace and you know actually runs a few different art events in the NFT space, even just throughout the crypto land. I mean, she's fabulous. And this is her 4th year as our art steward. So, you know, we have these different sort of, you know, centers of talent that we bring into our, what we call stewardship circles to run these components of the event. And they're just fabulous at it. So we're very fortunate to have an incredibly powerful community and incredibly creative community.
So like moving into the future, there's a lot of theories that, you know, we're going to go to like an entertainment-based society. Like a lot of the jobs in the world will be based around entertainment, right? Mm-hmm. As, you know, efficiencies improve and make this easier and easier. Hey, we've got someone else joined me in the space.
Hey, let's say it's Brian from Michaela. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Brian, what's up, dude? He's like, who's this guy running around me right now?
That's awesome. That's the beauty of a virtual environment. You just never know.
Like, he's Spawn.
Yeah. Well, look.
Tons of people flooding in here. No, I was going to say, just like, you know, throughout the event, there's just going to be people just like flying in from the ceiling, landing here continuously. It's going to be great.
Spawn.
Yeah, it's like in the other events I've, you know, been in with an avatar. It's very organic. Like you don't know who's going to pop in and things like that. And then you like hear their voice and you're like, oh, there's Brian or there's Joe or there's Christina. Like it's, you know what I'm saying? Like that discovery of like the organicness of people popping into each room and stuff. You know, and there's a, you know, an attendee list on the right and the microphone greens up when someone's talking, just like Clubhouse. Like that's how, well, people kind of complain on Clubhouse because it's like gray and you can hardly see who's talking, right? But it's pretty similar to that. So you kind of like discover like each room, like who's actually talking and stuff. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. You know, Clubhouse is definitely a cool concept. And like, I do really love how, like, you know, it's like I walk across this little barrier right here and all of a sudden pop, I'm in a conversation with whoever's hanging out here. It's pretty cool. I do think, like John said, that those beanbag pits are going to be like one of the like prime spots. You know, people are going to be fighting for seats there, and you know, once you get the spot in the DJ chill room, I feel like people just aren't going to even get up.
Yeah, it's scarcity. We always talk about scarcity, right? In the space, right? You know, so there's only 5 seats in that.
How funny is that? Like I'm walking around in a virtual environment, and I feel more calm, like sitting in a beanbag chair right now. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And then what I also noticed, and you know, as we kind of wrap up, you know, gamers drop into the environment and they just, you know, WASD and like turn their keyboard.
Yeah.
You know,
there's the 2 modes here. Yeah.
So
I'm trying to use my mechanical keyboard to piss off the stream. You know?
I know. People call me out too, for sure. But it's gonna be, so I guess one last thing, kind of what is, maybe there's a lot of, you know, really cool stuff that's going to happen, but like maybe what's a highlight you guys are looking forward to, like to seeing what happens and how it plays out, because this is the first time you guys have done a virtual environment event.
Yeah, so we have in each room there's a unique live stream, right? So in the main halls and in the sponsor halls, it's always going to be the shill zones, as we call them. It's all the live stream, right? Mm-hmm. The content feed. But in the Zen Zone, there'll be, guided yoga sessions. In the makerspace, there'll be, live art demonstrations. In the chill room, we're streaming DJs all week, live sets, and we're, they're going to be spinning all sorts of cool stuff. And then we have RAC coming and doing our closing set for our closing party. So we have like, I mean, just the amount of like things you don't want to miss. Like, I mean, I've got FOMO because there's so many things to do, and I'm like, man, I got to make sure that I like put all this stuff on my calendar because, we've got so many talented people running things. I could literally miss something because I'm so engaged with something else. I mean, that's just like, that's a dream come true in a virtual environment. I mean, we just didn't think that we'd be able to do it, but lo and behold, here we are. So it's going to be insanely cool and engaging and fun, and the anticipation is really beefing up.
Yeah. So to close out, as far as people getting involved, it's a free event, right?
Mm-hmm. Always, it's free this year and always will be.
Gotcha. And then like, how do people sign up? Where should people go to learn more information about the event?
Yeah, the best place to start is ethdenver.com. So that's ETHDENVER.com. And then if you want to just, apply to come, we do require some information about who you are to come. It's not just, an open environment like, Decentraland would have been. So we are, we do make sure that we curate the event space to a certain extent but it's a pretty low bar. Just come and, contribute. So the key thing that we want people to think about when they decide to come to ETH Denver, it's not just designed for consumption. This isn't just to come looky-loo. I mean, you can, I suppose, but our preference would be that you contribute something, you participate, you learn, you build a project, join a team, go be do something of value to the community and give what you consume. So just make it a reciprocity-based experience. And you'll meet more people than you can possibly remember their names. You'll have more fun than you've probably had in a year. And, we really hope that people get a lot of value out of it. I mean, educationally, in addition to the entertainment. So ethdenver.com, you can there's a big apply button on the top right. You can hit that, or you can just go to ethdenver.com/apply and just skip the homepage. But there's a whole section of FAQ. So like all the things that you might have questions about that you normally would need, somebody to answer for you. We've, pretty much had every question that you can think of. So we've documented all that for our attendees, and we look forward to seeing everyone.